So, hello guys, and welcome back to OFR. We are having an endurance special event today at Circuit de la Sarthe in GTS. You've got Dr. Robot and Havoc here. How you doing, Havoc?
I'm excited and I'm good, Robot, and yourself.
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. I'm really excited about watching this first endurance race. I think we've got a 10-minute qualifying that's going on now, followed by an hour-long race around this amazing circuit. So I think it's going to be an interesting one to watch. But hopefully as well, because we've got the next season starting, well, as of tomorrow, a week starting tomorrow, I think we're going to be discussing a few of the rosters, the calendar, and what to look out for next season as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good session. We've got a lot of information to get out there to the guys, and they've also got the GTS races to get to watch during the podcast. So it's gonna be a good podcast. You guys get to see a lot of action. You're gonna get to see the endurance race, a lot of sneak peeks as well as far as some of the guys pulling some liveries out. I know of a couple guys that are running their livery for next season, and we're gonna go through all of it.
Absolutely. So first of all, let's just talk about this track quickly. Now, I've never officially raced around this track. I've done a practice around it. It's very long. It's 13 kilometers, and I reckon they're only going to get about. Is it about 4 minutes a lap, something like that, or is it less?
Yeah, it's around that. Some of the faster guys, I mean, they could get into the low fours, but 33 turns, Robot. We're talking about a very, very long lap, and you have to be on it. I mean, because if you go off at Le Mans here, you're basically punting yourself into last place, and it's very, very difficult to catch up because the guys, it's pitting. I mean, the less pits you have, the more chance of a win you have.
Yeah, exactly. And if you do crash out and you end up at the back of the pack, the best chance you've got is just to be consistent and wait for the next person to crash out. I mean, it's an hour long. These guys usually only do 40-minute races and many laps, but if you're doing, only doing 20 or something laps around this really long circuit, that will wear you down mentally. It's not a lot of places to remember. By the time you got around half of the track, you've done 3 or 4 laps in Formula One. So,
Yep.
It's going to be a big drain on them, on the mental capacity here. Let's hope they can get through it.
Absolutely. I couldn't be bothered to do something like that. I could never do anything like that. Some of these guys, we've got a lot of the veterans in here that are absolutely capable of doing something like this, but it's going to be interesting to see how many of them make it to the end and where they finish when we get done with it.
Absolutely. So the cars that you're allowed to choose here, so it is like a semi-official LMP1 race. 10-minute quali, hour race. You can choose from the Jaguar XJR9, but I think that's one of the slowest ones, and I doubt anyone's going to be actually using that one. Then we've got the Porsche 962 from the 88, the Nissan R92CP from 92, and then we've got the Mercedes-Benz, the C9 from 1989. I've already seen a few guys racing with that one, actually, and it's some quite nice liveries here too. Then I think I'm riding on board with Racer Tay right now, who's using the Mazda 787B from 91. And I think there's at least 4 different cars on track right now as well, which is very, very nice to see. Smashing liveries. We'll have to have another livery competition to see who's going to win that one. But right now, I mean, Racer Tay is the livery guy. He designed the Spinorama livery last season. Everyone was loving that livery, and he's done a pretty decent job on this Mazda that he's racing here as well.
It looks super classic. I mean, they've gone with the more classic LMPs. And it looks super classic. I mean, he's hit it right on the nose, I think. And it's gonna be interesting to see how some of the other guys went along with the liveries. I know Super Bounty's got something on his car. We'll have to check that out later on in the stream. I believe some of the European guys are doing the same thing. It's gonna be really cool. I love seeing the guys putting their own spin on the liveries with the cars. It always makes it a little more custom, and it kind of shows you what kind of creativity they have.
Absolutely. Now, we're going to have something else here today as well, something new. We've actually got AJ and OFR Leakola in the party with us today. They can't hear us at the moment because we've muted them, but maybe after 2 or 3 laps we'll unmute them and just ask them how they're getting on with the race, what to look out for, tricky parts of the track, things like that, so we can kind of get a live commentary from the guy in the actual car. And that's not something we've done before, but we're going to try it out here today and see how it works, because that would be something that would be really good. Because when you watch like F1 races and you hear from the race engineers whilst the race is going on, imagine hearing from the actual driver. I think that's something we should be looking forward to today.
I think they've got the time as well, Robot. I mean,
Absolutely.
definitely in Masani Strait, huge long straight, little chicane in the middle, and then another chicane towards the end. It's almost split into a third before they get down to turn 16, 17, and then they have to brake and get ready for the front part of the track where they go all the way down through the rest of the 33 turns, and then start over at the Dunlop curve and Dunlop chicane to come back around and do it again.
Yeah. So you'll have to interrupt them just as they come around the first sector, and as soon as they get on that straight, we'll unmute them and ask them what's going on. I think that'll be the perfectly timed conversation.
Yeah, I think that'll work.
Unless we carry it on by accident into those two chicanes, then it's going to be a different story.
Yeah.
But let's talk about time so far. So there's only 3.5 minutes left. I'm quickly going to jump to Racer Tay's time and see what he's done. He's done a 3 minutes 35. Bounty, using currently in second place, has done a 3:48. That's already 13 seconds slower than Racer Tay. And Bagpuss in third has done a 3:49. Racer Tay already 14 seconds quicker than the car behind him. So the real question is, how long is it going to take for Racer Tay to lap someone? I give it 3 laps. 3 laps, and then he's
with a 3-second. I don't know. I think it's going to be a little bit longer than that, Robot. A 13-second gap to P2, a 3.5 minute lap. We're looking at, it could be lap 8, I think. I think we're going to get into lap 8 before we start seeing him do anything. Your returning champion from last season, Racer Tay, had a wonderful season in GTS, and he's actually breaking into some other OFR leagues as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit actually, but you're going to be seeing him in not 1, not 2, but 3 different leagues. And let's not forget, he actually won the Classic Cup that we hosted last season as well. Bounty's done a really solid time there. He's set a 3:25, as Bag does a 3:29, but Racer Tay has done a 3:21, so he's still about 4 seconds quicker than the closest time. Vilsec is currently set in second place at 3:23 as well. Another guy that we'd love to see back here, Vilsec, who has confirmed his spot in both GTS and F1 next season. He's a quick driver, and he's one of the guys that could break Racer Tay.
He's a quick guy. He's one of those guys, he's got the natural ability, right? We've talked about it before. A lot of guys, it takes them going around the track, 50, 60 times. We've seen some guys on F1 do close to 700 laps a week to prepare for a race. Vilsec is one of those guys, he's got natural ability. Kind of the same as Tay. Super Bounty as well, he's got some natural ability in there. AJ's one of those guys, he can do it, just come on track and be able to drive the car around and figure it out. Now, with Vilsec, he's just got raw pace. He just understands how to get the car around. And I think between him and Super Bounty, those two are going to be the ones to challenge Tay if Tay makes a mistake.
Absolutely. Now, talking about Super Bounty, he's going to be in 5 divisions out of the 11 that we're hosting next season as well. It's nice to see him here today. He actually did, I think he did some type of charity event yesterday on an esports racing league, where he actually raced for about 4 or 5 hours the entire day. And so he's going to be able to have the capacity to actually do this. This is going to be quite short for him, actually. Only 1 hour versus 5 or 6 that he did yesterday. He's already in that mindset of these long races, and he's going to be one to look out for, like you said. As soon as Racer Tay makes a mistake, him or Vilsec, they're going to pounce.
He's super quick, isn't he? I mean, we saw it in the last race of the season in GTS. He did D1, did not do bad, and then did D2 and ended up doing super good. I mean,
won a race.
He
won a race.
Yeah, I mean, just amazing driver. Super Bounty's got amazing pace going around here. Understands the car. We're looking at him now. He's trying to pick up the toe, and that's the other thing we're going to see today is the guys picking up the toe to try to stay close. You only have to be a little over a second to stay in the toe for the car in front. But going back to Bounty, he's going to be the one. That's the one I'm looking at to stay as close to Tay as possible.
Yeah. Slipstream is going to be very, very important here, especially down those back straights. It's going to be a bit hard to follow as you go through the first sector, just that really twisty part of the track, and possibly the final sector just as you're coming up to the start line. But if you lose that toe, that's when you're in trouble, and that's when you're going to be super vulnerable to the guys behind. So they need to keep an eye on that, and it's really a track, where mistakes are so easy to make. But at the same time, if you make them, it's going to be absolutely tragic. So these guys are going to have to be careful.
Yeah, they are. You look at the back straight and you think, okay, I'm going to get a break. I get to do this straight, but you don't. You have to go through both chicanes. And then when the guys get to them, they are flying down the straight. I mean, they're getting the top speed in these cars, and they have to get on the brake. They're going full pressure on the brake to get the car to stop. And then after the second chicane, they have to do it again for an over 90-degree turn to the right in 16 and 17 and get ready for the end.
Yeah. The qualifying's ended actually, so this is everyone just needs to cross the line now, then it's done. It's Racer Tay 2.4 seconds ahead, so not the gap actually that I expected. I thought it was going to be about 5 seconds, but it's actually only 2.4 to AJ in second place and Vilsec in third, Bounty in fourth currently, and BJ Robbo in fifth. But the gap to the guys at the back isn't that big either. It's only a 3:28 by the likes of Astro and a 3:29 by Hazy. Now, I know that's 9 seconds, but there's a bit of a gap anyway between the top and the back of the field. But that means that the back of the field are going to have lots of battles going on as well, so there should be lots of stuff going on track. Yeah, throughout the entire session, hopefully.
A lot of veterans here today. It's not one of those races where it's just, a division and then we've got another division racing. We have a lot of the veterans from D1 here today, and they're going to put on a show. I will guarantee you they will put on a show. We're going to see some battles, and we're going to see some stuff going on. They're not going to run away from each other in the back of the field. They're going to be right there next to each other. A lot of these guys know each other. They race during the week. They race in the weekend, and they stick together. You're going to see it on the flags next to their names. A lot of the European guys, and a lot of them from Great Britain, they stick together. They race in other leagues, and they're together all the time, so they know what each other's capabilities are.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to let you know as well, there's actually a space available in the session that could, because Lex got his timing wrong, so you can actually join and spectate if you want to. But that's up to you. So I'm just going to get ready now for the actual race to begin. I'm going to get the F1 Formula 1 roster up as well, so we can have a quick look through that. We'll see if we can start there after the first 2 laps maybe, and go over what we're going to be looking forward to next season.
I think it's going to be an exciting season. Last season, what did we see, Robot? We saw the tightest point gap we've ever seen in F1IR and OFR history, with the top 5 guys fighting over points. We've never seen it that tight, have we?
Never. It actually came down to the last race, and it all depended on the exact position that these drivers finished in. 4 people could have actually won it in that final race, and only 1 did, and it's his 3rd championship here, and it's, of course, I know you're all gonna guess who it is. It's Izat. He won again, 3-time OFR champion.
Just a veteran, isn't he? He's just he shows his veteran status. He shows the consistency. He's got it. He goes around. He comes in, completes the weekend. He does near to no practice because he's been playing the game for so long. But just that veteran, knowledge that he's got of all the tracks, and to be able to go around the way he does, it's unbelievable.
It really is. So we're just waiting for this qualifying to come to an end. I'm not sure actually what's taking so long at the moment, but everyone is going very slowly. Is someone not retired or something, or I don't know.
It's a super long way to get around, isn't it? I mean, we're talking about a 10-minute qualifying, 3.5 laps. They've only got maybe 2 chances at it, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah, you're right. They would have only had 2 or 3 laps to do it, 3 at most, because you're actually allowed to cross the line, of course, and then finish your lap as long as there was time remaining. So I think they could have got 3 out of it. And I'm just flicking through all of the guys now, and they all did get 3 actually. So yeah, the qualifiers now come to an end, and look at that, Race Tay in first place, 2.4 seconds ahead of AJ and Vilsec in third. So it's all going to be about the getaway and whether or not people can keep that toe down those back straights. It's going to be a great race, guys. 1 hour starting from now for this race to come to an end. Let's go.
I'm super excited. I can't wait. It's going to be the first endurance race I think we've streamed. Some of the guys may have done it. I think Bagpuss has done it in the week, but it's going to be the first one I'm a part of, and I'm excited about it.
Absolutely. So they're all lined up at the moment. Race Day starting on the racing line on the left-hand side. We've got a 3-second countdown timer, and we are off already. Now, Ash got a pretty decent start, actually. He's managed to get down the side of AJ already. Not too much position changes going on in the midfield, a few at the back, but we're seeing Race Day lead as they come into the first corner. He's got that inside line. AJ's trying to fight back on Ash right now, and he's now got the inside on Race Day. It's going to be someone pushing. Oh, it's Vilsec getting a little bit choppy there, and it looks like some guys have crashed into each other, but everyone's still on track and no one has spun just yet. Vilsec was looking a little bit eager there. He was a bit feisty, I suppose, but Race Tay, look at that. He's pulled away a 2.1 gap already, and Vilsec has jumped up as well. This is going to be a decent race.
The guys are all getting around, though. They've got light damage on today. We're not going to see heavy damage like we did in the season, so it's not exactly going to end your race if you do get into a situation, but the light damage is going to cause you to slow down for a few seconds until you catch up.
I think so. I'm kind of not surprised that they've got light damage on only, because heavy damage around this track, it would actually be race ending. You'd limp back to the pits. Vilsek cuts the corner as he goes up to the first chicane on the straight. He's managed to lose his position actually. He's down in 4th place right now, and he's lost some more. Where is he? I can't see him on track.
I'm looking for him, but I can't find him.
Has he crashed? I think he has. Oh, he has. He's down in 14th place. Look, one mistake, you go across the gravel, and the game slows you down so much when you go across there. He's just lost all of his pace, and he's now 12 seconds off the lead. He's just lost 10 seconds. That is how dangerous the gravel traps are here. They bring you from 150 to 0 in about 3 seconds.
Yeah, you cannot go off Robot. It's going to be tough for him to catch back up. I think he's going to be able to make some of the spots back up. He's definitely not going to get back to the front, but he will be able to make some of those spots up.
Let's hope so. So we are looking at around 15 laps. I think that's all it's going to be in this 1 hour race. I'm just trying to see if I can see it. There's a few guys ghosting. They're trying to get rid of their penalties. We've got a new driver here, Hazy, who's joining us for GTS next season. Keep an eye out for the other new drivers. I'll also give them a shout out. Smalley as well. He's often one of these guys that is always in the GTS streams, rooting OFR along, rooting his boy Harley on as well. And he's going to be racing in the Beginners Cup next season, which is going to be absolutely amazing as well. So I'll tell you what we'll do now, actually. I'll actually bring up the Formula 1 Division 1 roster for next season. I'll just put it on the right-hand side of the screen whilst this race is going on. I'm going to ride on board with the race today, and I'm going to show it now. So let's talk about Formula 1. Let's talk about the roster first. You should be able to see that on the right-hand side here. The cars that you see aren't going to be the ones that they use in the season. They're just going to be the ones that they use in the pre-season race, which will go on to determine what cars they actually have. So you can see at the top, no particular order, we've got what looks to be quite a powerful team in the Ferrari. It's OFR Licola and Racer Tay. That's right, guys. He's moved to Formula 1. This is going to be amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Racer Tay and Licola. What a combination. Vilsek, I don't want to say Vilsek got dropped. It was just kind of a measure to make sure that Lika had a teammate this season. Him and Tay get along very well. They were teammates in GTS last season. They're going to be teammates again. You're going to see them back on GTS as a team. So they just have that chemistry, and that's what drivers like to look out for, is that chemistry. But being in the Ferrari, not a car that a lot of guys like to pick. We saw Lika do it, I think, 2 seasons ago before the Mercedes of last season. So maybe trying to go back to that. He likes that understeery car, and that's what it is. Another team that we're looking at, Santu and AJ, the return of AJ Robot.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, if you think about AJ, he is an OFR champion twice over. He's won a Formula 1 championship and he's won a GTS championship last season in D2 as well. Santu is one of these guys that is got the pace for a championship. He's just lacking the consistency. He's had the opportunity to win many races, but picking up penalties and things like that on the last lap has cost him. However, these two have been teammates before. They're going to be teammates again. And those two definitely, together, have what it takes to absolutely win the Constructors' Championship. Like, 100%.
They've been teammates before, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they know how each other are. They like to push each other. It's one of those teams to watch out for this season. And I want to just point that out as you guys listen to the podcast and watch the race today. We're going to be looking at a very exciting F1 season in Division 1 with the rest of the lineup. It's not going to be like last season where we were just tight on the driver standings. I think we're going to be tight on the constructor standings as well, with some of the teams that are lined up.
Absolutely. Now, we know that it was La Competeza from last season, that was Shorty and Scotty, who won the Constructors' Championship. And they've been together for 3 seasons long now, and no surprise, they're going to be together again. They're racing in the McLaren in the pre-season race, and again, proven champions in terms of the team championship. They're going to be another team that has what it takes to absolutely dominate the Constructors' Championship. One mistake by another one of these drivers like Lika, Tay, AJ, Santu, and those guys are going to pounce on you. They are an absolute tag team. They are a perfect duo, and they pretty much like calculate everything they need to do in a race, where they need to sandwich drivers, where they need to slow other drivers down. Those two are a perfect duo, and I think we're going to see them possibly pull away with the team championship again.
Yeah, it's team consistency, isn't it? I mean, they show consistency race in, race out. They show up every weekend. The two have been teammates, so they've got chemistry. They're always together, and they're close on the track as well. It's not like one of them is super faster than the other one.
Mm-hmm.
They're always close in pace, which is also it's a good profile to have if you want a teammate. You want to have a teammate that's similar to your pace and can push you along during the event. So I think it's definitely going to be something to watch out for. Now, in the Haas this season, we've got Vilsek and Atomic. Atomic playing consistency last season and almost just let it go and lost the Drivers' Championship in the last race. Is going to pick up Vilsek, who's going to leave Liga from last season. What do you think about that team?
So, Atomic didn't win a single race last season, but he was leading the Driver Championship for about 4 consecutive races. It's kind of hard to say because it isn't like he's not consistent or he is, but it's just when the pressure builds up, he makes silly mistakes. Now, Vilsek was a bit absent for last season because of his relocation going on, but those two combined this season, I think they're going to complement each other perfectly. I think they're going to do a lot more practice. That's going to help Atomic out a lot, and I feel like, without sounding harsh on Vilsek and Lika when they were teamed up last season, I think a bit of pressure is going to be taken off Vilsek that's going to make him maybe enjoy it a little bit more, and him and Atomic are so similarly paced that I think they're going to be battling each other on track, and that's going to really bring out the best of both of them. And again, this is now another team that can easily win the Constructors' Championship. If they can both get their consistency together, they have what it takes, 100%.
Yeah, and we're going to keep hitting on that, guys. It's going to be these teams, and you're not going to see a single team stand out from another team. It's going to be very closely compacted into a competitive season. And I can't wait. I mean, we've got 2 new drivers teaming up this season. Let's go look at Yuval, who is Margaret 1, and Amir, who are going to be coming into D1. Margaret had a few races, I think, at the end of the season, has a little experience coming into D1, but he's teamed up with Amir, and they are both coming into D1 as a team.
Yeah, Amir clearly won the Drivers' Championship in D2 last season. He won every single race apart from 2. And when he didn't win, I think he finished in the top 5 or second place in both of them, so very consistent. He definitely is a D1 driver, let's make no mistake there. Margaret, Yuval, he raced in the last 3 races, I think, in Division 1 last season. He already knows what some of these guys are like. He knows how to drive wheel to wheel with them. If he can teach that to Amir, these two are a solid duo. I don't think they're going to have what it takes to take the Constructors' Championship, but top 3, possible, absolutely.
I agree. I completely agree. So we've got that team going on. Now let's talk about Stinson.
Yeah.
Stinson is going to be teamed up with Jedi 85 this season. They're going to be in the Alfa Romeo. And I don't know if we've mentioned, but our preseason track is going to be around Belgium, Spa-Francorchamps.
Yeah.
So not a bad preseason track to go around and try to prove yourself and make the best of it.
Yeah, Stinson didn't actually race in Spa last season, so he's not going to have as much experience as some of these other drivers, although we do know he likes to absolutely rinse time trial throughout the week, so he'll probably get back up there quite early. But his teammate Jedi, new D1 driver again. He was D3 or D3 and D2 last season. He's been bumped up to D1 because he has the pace. I don't think he has the pace for a driver championship. I don't think he's in the top 3, but being a teammate of Stinson is going to be, perfect teacher, perfect guy that you want to follow, learn from. I think he's going to be able to easily get top 10 every race, if not top 6 or 5. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Strong driver. Absolutely strong driver. Now, I'm going to quickly just go over the remaining teams. We've got Bounty and VR, the Dutch guys teaming up. They were in the cross division team last season, and they are now grouped together in a single team. They're going to be racing in the Mercedes. We've got Simon, that's S1 Fury, and Isaac's remaining teammates. So Simon, again, going to be staying in D1. He's had a bit of a difficult season. He's had some really nice overtakes and some point finishes, which is good to see. But he's not giving up and he's fighting. He's getting faster each race and he's fighting hard for it. He deserves to be there and he wants to show everyone that as well. And the last team that's a bit of a surprise to me actually is Liv and Avi. Now, I think this was kind of like, everyone else had chose their team, so we had to put these two together. But Liv, everyone calls him the People's Champion. He shows up at the last minute and he wins races. He lurks in the shadows of someone's car ahead. He waits for them to make a mistake, and he's already got 3 or 4 race wins in D1 in OFR. Avi, a D3 driver, that's been promoted up to D1 because of his phenomenal pace without assists. He is going to be also his teammate of Liv in D1, and I reckon that those two could actually get a top 3 Constructors Championship come the end of the season. With Liv's wins and Avi's consistency, always finishing in the points, definitely have what it takes.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. So that's going to be the roster, guys. Let us know what you think in the chat. Who do you think is going to come out on top? It's going to be one of those seasons where everything's going to be tightly packed. I mean, it's just one of the, I don't know, I can't explain it. I'm just super excited to see what's going to happen. My underdog pick for this season is going to be VR and Super Bounty. Those guys are going to push each other. I think it's going to be a very interesting season for those two, and I would love to see them on top. Super Bounty is just getting faster and faster.
Yeah, they are, and Super Bounty had a bit of a loss of confidence in the middle of the season. He dropped back down to D2, swapping with VR. But as soon as he got his confidence back, he was finishing on the podium. He won the last race of the season due to his speed, his consistency. Definitely has what it takes to win. And yeah, again, if those two just keep getting these top 5 finishes every single week, that is once again another team that can take it. And that's the most important thing here, guys. Every single team that is we've paired up for the next season in Division 1 has what it takes to win the Constructors Championship. I would say probably only 5 or 6 have what it takes to win the Drivers' Championship, but you know, whilst that is important, it's gonna be big eyes on the Team Constructors.
It is, and there were a lot of talks about how to do it this season. Do we split them up? Do we make the faster drivers go with the slower drivers? Do we make the top 10 and the bottom 10, you know, combine and make that happen? Or do we let the guys do what we've always let them do? Let them pick and be comfortable with the teammate that they have.
Yeah.
And go into the season and have a competitive season.
It's just, I mean, it's definitely one of those things that is definitely hard to manage. I mean, whilst you do want to go with your friends and things like that, people always want to make
Robbo's around.
Oh, is he? What position is he in?
P8.
How much time has he lost?
He's back on now. He's lost a lot of time. He's lost 7 seconds to Smalley ahead.
That's a bit of a shame. I've switched
and
to him now.
That's another 3-place battle right there. P5, P6, P7. You got Lika, Castle, and Smalley going at it. So how about a recap, Robot? As we went through the F1 stuff, just a recap, we've got Racer Tate P1, 11 seconds ahead of Ash Wilson. Not sure where AJ went. AJ stayed P2 for a long time. Not sure where he's gone. He's got Ash Wilson in P2, Super Bounty in P3, staying up there, and then Super Bounty's got Harley right behind, 3 seconds. I say right behind because it's a Le Mans style race.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
an
true.
endurance race. So 3 seconds, you know, you could be right there. Lika, 4 seconds behind in P5, and then Castle and Smalley, they've kind of separated here on the Sector 1 start, and then Robbo with that mistake. He's caught up, though. He's not really lost anything to Smalley. He's caught up, and he's now just a second and a half behind. AJ all the way down the P9, not sure what happened. Something's happened to AJ, Robot. He was in P2 at the start of the race and was following very closely to Racer Tay, and something's had to have happened.
Yeah, he's now got Vilsec actually only 9/10 behind him as well. They're coming up 3 corners time to the back straights as well, where we could see an overtake because of the slipstream. Let's stick with them and let's see if Vilsec can do something.
Yep, and then you're going to round off the lineup. You've got Bagpuss P11 losing some spots. He's still there. He's got Astro right behind. Astro is going to make a move as well. Maybe switch between the two going down the back straight. We've got plenty of time going down the back straight, and then Hazy and Larsich round out your 14 drivers for this endurance race.
Yeah, it's actually happening right now as well. We've got Smalley catching up right to the back of Vilsec as well. We've got AJ in 8. Vilsec less than 2/10 behind right now, and he's about to perform the overtake. He's going to the right-hand side. He's come out of the toe, and he's going to try and make a move down the inside as he goes to the chicane. He can't get it. He can't get it yet, but we've got another long straight now where he could fight back. Let's see if AJ's going to get a bit of a toe from BJ Robbo ahead of him as well. Look at these 4 cars going in a train down the straight. Engines screaming. This is so great to see.
I love the sound of the engines, Robot. The engines from the classic cars, or the older LMPs. Just amazing sound, raw power you're getting from the engines here. They're going max speed as they go down towards the second chicane. Here they come. Vilsec's not going to be able to do it. He's still behind.
So close.
AJ's not going to be able to catch up either. I think Robo's going to get away with it until they get to the next turn.
Yeah, and AJ just picks up a second penalty as well. He's cutting a lot of corners. And, oh, Vilsec's now looking to make a move down the inside. Every time Vilsec peeks out of the slipstream, he just gets a face full of air and it slows him down and he loses speed. He needs to stay behind for as long as he possibly can as both BJ and AJ touch wheels as they go into the right-hander here. And now Vilsec has made a move as well.
He touches AJ, AJ goes sideways. And there we go!
Look at that move from Vilsec. He is back, guys. Nice to see him.
He was waiting. He pounced on the move. That's something he had to have learned from Liko. Sit back, wait, predatorize the driver in front, and wait for the mistake, and that's exactly what he did.
Absolutely. Bravo. Now, AJ, let's just not forget, though, AJ managed to stay ahead throughout that entire thing, even through those two main straights. So, I'm not sure if that's a speed advantage in his downforce settings or something like that, but he had speed, and as soon as Vilsec came out of the tow, Vilsec just lost speed. AJ's got that car tuned perfectly for this track right now.
Yeah, and the car, too, it looks like Vilsec's chosen car has got a taller rear wing than what AJ's got. AJ's rear wing is almost all the way down to the rear of the car. You can barely see it until you get a side view of it. There it is. It's so far down. Maybe that's what's giving him the advantage. That, and like you said, Robot, the downforce settings on the car before they entered the race. But yeah, you're right. Vilsec's definitely having a hard time keeping up with him.
So they've just, let's see. They're coming up to the start-finish line now. They've only done 5 laps. They're just about to complete the 5th lap. That is how long these laps actually are. They're about
17 minutes in.
They're about a quarter of the way through the race. Oh, sorry. Okay, a third of the way through the race. And yeah, it's going to end up being about 15 laps, 15, 16 laps. Now, should we go over the D2 lineup quickly?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I'm just going to show the left-hand side of the roster on the website. So this is the Ferrari and Mercedes, AlphaTauri, Racing Point, and the Williams. And then after that, I'll switch it. It's just because the image is so large that it takes up a lot of the screen, and they're missing what's going on track. So I'll just do the left half first. Right. So D2. Here is the first half of the roster. Again, in no particular order. We've got the likes of Will, new driver, Hash. We've got Bob and Rubs pairing up. We've got Random and Cam pairing up. Marco and Showcrime, and BWatt and Lavsesh 2. Now, I don't think there's any new guys in that first half of the lineup apart from Will. A lot of these guys who we just read out have been tried and tested. And if I had to order them right now and say who's fastest out of all of those guys, I couldn't tell you. If I had to tell you who was slower,
no.
I also couldn't tell you. Like, there is no way. They are so similarly paced, so similarly consistent, and they all finished roughly with the same amount of points last season too. Like, that is a serious D2 lineup right there, and that's only half of the drivers.
It's gonna be just as competitive as D1. If you're sticking around and you're watching the D1 race, do not leave. Make sure you stay around and you watch the D2 race as well. It's gonna be just as competitive. It's just gonna be more action-packed. We saw a lot of that last season. You're self-involved. What a wonderful season you had. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw you in the bucket, Robot. What a season you had. I mean, Amir was almost untouchable. You made it not as so as you were able to kind of keep his mind from thinking that he was able to just run away with it. But what a season you had, just to throw you in there, throw you under the bus. I mean, how do you repeat? What do you do to repeat that this season?
Yeah, so it was a very good season for me. It was my best in terms of stats and how much I enjoyed it and stuff, which was really nice to see. I was really happy actually that D2 finally shifted to no assists, and I think my success is primarily down to the fact that I haven't been using assists, and a lot of the guys were using like Racing Line, so they've basically had a season to adjust to the no assist, which is why I probably have an advantage. And I reckon it's not going to be anywhere near as successful as it was last season this season, because these guys have had 10 races now to get used to no line, and they're going to fight back. And yeah, it's not going to be as great as it was last season, but it was really fun. It was really fun. Amir, I am 100% confident he was playing mind games with me every single race. Whenever I was leading, he would wait until the last lap to overtake me. Whenever he was ahead, I'm sure he was slowing down just so he could battle. Like, he was messing with my mind the entire time. But yeah, it was a great season, great battle, and we had a lot of great tracks there as well, which made it fun as well. There weren't really any tracks that we hated. I think Russia was the one that I hated the most, and it was the one that you loved the most.
Yeah. It's that Russia is one of those tracks though. It's almost a 50-50. And then you go to Japan, and it's like the opposite. You know, like I hate Japan, you love Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But I kind of think that's what makes us a good duo, you know, because for the tracks where I'm poor, you're good. For the tracks where you're good, I'm poor. Kind of balances out a little bit. Yeah, it's perfect. Now,
it was a good calendar. I enjoyed the calendar. It was a very good calendar. We're gonna have a similar calendar. We'll get into that a little bit later, but we're gonna have a similar calendar this season. It's gonna be a very fun calendar.
Yeah. Now, the other side of the grid, we've got 2 slots available, and that means we've only got 8 more drivers left, and they are the likes of Osher and Proctor in the Red Bull, Alex and Castle. Alex is a new driver in the Alpha. Then we've got Ollie, who's another new driver, and Ali Cade in the McLaren, and then you and I in the Renault. Now, the one team that scares me the most there is Osher and Proctor. Now, Osher raced in some D1 races last season. He's won races in D3, I think. He's won special event races possibly as well. Proctor is just... This guy is one of the fastest qualifiers that we have. He is so quick. And that team looks scary. I mean, they're going to win. I mean, if I had to choose one team, I'd choose them. That is...
I would agree. Yeah. Not to throw us in at any point, but just to do... I mean, Proctor's got amazing speed. He almost is not making a mistake ever. He never does a mishap. He's always perfect all the way through, unless he's tied up with someone. I think last season, that's the only time he got tied up was when he was involved with another racer, and it kind of either slowed him up or made a mistake. So by himself, he's going to be very, very quick. And with Osher at his side, it's going to be an interesting race.
Yeah, you're right. And yeah, definitely have what it takes to win that team constructors, and I think Osher has what it takes to win a driver championship as well. So if he can get the double whammy, then good for him, and let's see him in D1 next season.
Yeah.
Now
that's what it's all about, isn't it, Robot? It's about moving up and getting to that more competitive stage in OFR. You don't want to stay at the bottom. You want to move up, and you want to be battling those guys. You want to get better. You want to get more cleaner, you want to get faster every time, and you want to climb the ladder and get to that D1 position.
Absolutely, and I'm really sorry to interrupt you there, but AJ and Vilsack are still following each other, less than a second behind. Oh no, as Castle's just spun off the road. I was just about to say, they actually overtook Castle when they were going through the middle sector, and Castle's just got a bit of oversteer coming out of that 90-degree right-hander, and he's lost it against the wall. So Vilsack, let's not forget, he was in 14th at one point in this race, remember. He's now up in 7th, chasing down a top 5 with AJ, who's currently in P6.
Yeah, I don't know. I still don't understand why he dropped from P2 all the way down. He's made the positions back up. Ash, on the other hand, he's not exactly falling behind, but he's not getting caught by Super Bounty either. Now, Super Bounty has got Harley in P4 coming up. Now, he is gaining. It's 2.7 seconds as they come around the start-finish. And then Lika behind, 3.6 seconds behind Harley. It may be time to check in with our drivers here, Robot, as they come around the first sector and come down the front or the back straight.
So if you could just let AJ know that I'm going to unmute him in about 30 seconds time, I will go ahead and do that. Whilst we're doing that though, I am just going to quickly grab the D3 roster as well, just so you guys can see that one too. So yeah, give me a second, guys. Okay, guys, so just for privacy reasons, I have to quickly just switch to a be right back screen, but I'll be about 10 seconds, so just bear with me. thanks guys for that wait. So we've actually got AJ in the commentary box and in his car at the moment. AJ, how's the race going?
Not great, I'll be honest.
So what happened? You were in P2, AJ. What happened that dropped you down from P2?
Just went into the gravel, spun out, and hit the wall.
Where was that?
The really, I don't even know where it is. Like the S section. I don't know how you really describe it.
No worries.
But you're coming back up. I mean, you're back to P6. You're making some time up. It looks like.
Yeah, I'm trying. Trying to catch Lico as well. We're obviously talking to each other about what strategies to do.
Yeah.
But I'm a little bit off strategy as I pitted on lap 2.
Fair enough.
Which I'm not really sure if that was the right decision, because it does, I think, auto redo your damage. I think if you have damage, I believe it gets rid of it.
Yeah, that's right. And for the past 4 laps, Vilsec has been following you pretty closely. He's dropped back a little bit now, but how hard has he been pushing?
I think we have very similar pace, maybe a little bit quicker through like the last sector, and he's trying to hang on with Slipstream. I'm not 100% sure though. He's just pitted, so he'll be quicker than me for a bit.
How's the car, AJ? How are you liking the older L cars as opposed to the newer G3 or G2 cars?
They're okay. I don't feel the quickest, as quick. Obviously, you see Race Tay doing these 3 minutes 19s, and then I'm trying to get into a rhythm with 23s. So it's not as good as the GT3 cars, but I still feel like I've got a pretty good feeling in it.
Right.
That's good. That's good.
And you can hear him, guys. If you're listening, you can hear him working on that wheel, working it, and you can hear the creaks coming out of the stand, so you know he's driving that car around.
Yeah, and we're also just about to come up to half race distance, AJ. You've got Lika. Oh, he's actually in the pit, so he's pitted now. Where do you think you're going to finish in this race? If we could just get a final comment on that.
5th, probably. I would say something like that.
Do you think you have what it takes to catch up to Harley?
I don't know. I haven't really seen his pace.
Well, we're about to find out. So, thanks, AJ. I'm going to switch back now, and good luck for the rest of the race. Hopefully catch up again before the last few laps.
Maybe.
Okay, and we're now back with another driver. We've got OFR Licola. How you doing, Licola?
I'm good. I was kind of hectic race. Never raced here before.
You still...
Few laps, but really long time ago. But it's been fun. Mostly alone now, since past 5 laps maybe.
Yeah. So
how's the reality for an endurance race, Licola? Is this? I mean, does this kind of match it? I mean, are you enjoying it, or are you just trying to make it through?
I could do like 24 hours if somebody would host it. I don't mind how long it is.
Really?
But,
nice.
So
I'm most likely oldest in the grid, but I think I could race the longest.
Yeah, this is what we've kind of been thinking about, because unlike Formula 1, you know, where you race obviously in almost every league apart from D2, and you're kind of always battling with the steering wheel, you're going lap for lap every minute and a half, you're really fighting it, and it requires so much concentration. How would you compare that to this track, just given that it's so long and it's, you know, 3-4 minutes a lap?
On the straights, it's, you know, you're getting, when you sometimes it's really easy to forget that, oh damn, there is a corner coming. But other than that, it's quite fun. One thing, what I didn't like that people paddled in the start because you just would like to make the overtake on with the split stream in a straight, so you don't lose too much time. But
Are there any drivers out there, Lika, that are kind of posing an issue or matching pace with you out there?
I have no idea, bro.
It looks like you've had a bit of a lonely
big-
race.
Yeah, my pace keeps changing every lap. Sometimes I do a mistake and would like to catch Super Bounty. Let's see how it goes. He's speeding actually now.
Yeah, let's ride on board with him actually and see where he's coming out. So you're coming up now. He's put his tyres on. He's dropped his car and he's starting the refuel. Still refueling right now in his number 77
Oh,
car.
I'm corner caught.
He's still refueling, not moved away.
Only have a second.
He's still refueling, not moved away yet.
I
And there
didn't
he goes.
refuel too much, actually, because it didn't use so much fuel.
And you've done it. You've come out ahead of him.
How have you done that, Lika? You were, I think we were watching you in P6, P7, all the way up to P3 now. I'm not going to give you any information about the drivers ahead. I can't do that as we're
Well,
in a
that's
live
what I
race.
paid you for.
But you're not doing that bad. You've got a 6-second gap on Bounty. You kind of accomplished what you wanted to do. What do you have to do after the halfway mark? Is we're in 32 minutes right now. After the halfway mark, what do you have to do to stay where you're at or improve?
Focus. Make sure that I have Odins.
There we go. You've heard it here first.
Yeah, it's it's a 1 hour race. You might want to drink a while, so I forgot to open my pot already, so I have a little struggle here at the moment. But
You'll have to wait till you
next
pit
lap I
again.
will get it open.
Yeah, fair enough.
The challenges of an endurance race, folks. And I'm going to go ahead and say we brought it to you first, bringing drivers in for commentary during the race. Lika's not doing that bad. I mean, we've got a P3 commentator in there doing live race commentating, so
Good luck for the
OFR
rest of
brought
the
it
race.
to you first.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, guys, for that. That's two of the drivers currently at 50% race distance, and you can kind of see it's kind of what we expected, I suppose. We didn't expect them to be, sweating or fighting the wheel or out of breath, that type of thing, because it is a long lap and it's not that technical in terms of nailing apexes and getting on the throttle nice and early. But yeah, they both seem stable. They both seem like they could go on for another hour or two, which is nice. And it gives us a kind of an idea for the endurance season that's coming up. How these drivers are going to fare.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I always enjoy talking to the drivers. I was hoping we would get something like that going at some point during our streaming stuff, but it's super exciting to be able to talk to a driver during the race. You don't get that anywhere else, guys. I think we're going to try to do it in a lot of other circumstances, but yeah, they're doing so good. They're not stressing. They sound like they've got it under control, and Lika's P3, AJ's down in P7, and I think they've still got time to improve.
Absolutely. So let's see what happens for the next half of this race. 25 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Now let's talk about D3. A lot of new drivers in D3 this season. A lot of returning drivers in D3 in Formula 1. And we've also got some drivers that you wouldn't expect there if you've been following OFR for the past few seasons. So I'll just, again, start with the left-hand side of the grid. In the Ferrari, we've got Baella and Godwaza. We've got Bondo and Danava, new driver in the Red Bull. We've got Lord Zed and our OFR admin Lex in the... Is that the Alpha? That's the Alpha. And then we've got Maximus, previous D1 driver and OFR admin here, moving down to D3, which is a bit of a surprise. And he's going to be teaming up with Count Shakula. And then we've got Penguin Dude, some say he's related to Penguin Gugu, who knows, with Phil Mod, two new drivers there. So a brand new lineup. They're allowed to use racing line and traction control in that division. And based on that lineup, it's going to be big battles in the top 5. Absolutely. Lord Zed, Maximus, Count, God, Waza, big names there, lot of speed. Expect big battles.
Yeah, and not to put Maximus down, just it's hard, right? For the D1 and the D2 guys, it's super hard to be able to practice these tracks and get these tracks in your head. You would think that you would learn them, but with the line robot, it kind of puts you in an auto drive mode where you don't exactly have to learn it. But once you turn the line off, it's a whole different story. And I'm suspect number one, where I've had the line my whole racing career, and it's helped me get through and not have to practice as much as some of the other guys. But with the line off, it's a whole new ball game. You have to learn these tracks, and I think it makes for cleaner racing when a driver has to learn the track and they have to know what they're doing. Now going back to Maximus is like a lot of the other drivers in OFR. He has a full-time job. He has a family. He does not have the time to compete and do the training required to compete in D1 or D2. So he's opted out, and he's going to go to D3. He is going to be a good driver there. He's got a lot of competition. He's not going to run away. He's not. I mean, I'm definitely 100% sure he's not going to run away with the lead or anything like that. He's got the mentions of Lord Zed. He's got Fifi there. He's got Valhalla. He's got Johto. We haven't spoken about Johto yet.
Yeah.
He's got Bondo. There's a lot of guys in there.
Absolutely. So I'm going to quickly just move to the right-hand side of the grid and let you guys know who's there. So we've got two new guys, X-Morphous and You Can Do It in the Haas. We've got Fifi returning in Nadav in the Mercedes. We've got Yoto, like you just said, and Nathaniel. We practiced with him earlier in Spa, and he's quick. He's like D2 pace, right? So he's going to be one to look out for. And then we've got the Nick Figgy and Kitten Mittens in the Renault. One returning driver, that's of course Figgy, and one new driver, Kitten Mittens. So it's so funny to say that name, Kitten Mittens, come on. Right, so now if again you were to ask me who's going to win the Drivers' Championship, I could probably give you the names of 5 drivers who will probably get it. Team Championship, absolutely. No idea. It's going to be so close again. And I think that's going to be the more important thing in F1 this season. I think that it's the Team Constructors Championship that is going to keep the spirit of racing alive here, because it is going to be so close. It's going to be close.
We've made it. I think OFR has done the right thing as opposed to other leagues, Robot, and don't count yourself out of that conversation that has made this league better, because it is better. And we showed it last season with the driver standings, right? It stayed so close the whole way through. Now we've kind of done that and made that happen with the graduation of drivers from D3 all the way up to D1. They have to work their way up. We're not going to just let anyone go straight to D1. They have to graduate themselves up. So now we're concentrating on constructors' points. We're not only going to be worried about the driver standing, but constructors as well. Now you're going to get the best of both worlds. We're going to get competitiveness out of both scenarios, driver and constructors. So you guys are going to get to see that this season and pay very, very close attention, because it's not going to be a runaway.
Absolutely. It's going to be a really amazing one to watch. Battles all season long. So yeah, make sure you tune into our videos and watch the live streams. I think we're going to have you and I commentating D1 again, hopefully. And then we're going to have the likes of Bob, AJ, Figgy sometimes, Leaker sometimes commentating D2 all the way down to D4. We've not got a D4 roster yet because we're still doing some team pairings between drivers. So that will be coming soon. But what we will show you right now, actually, is the calendar